welcome to TradeFlash. TradeFlash. The show where we give you the latest high, lows and whoop-de-doos. So what's the big news stories of the day that you need to be aware of right now? What are the biggest movers of the day of stock, currencies, cryptos, commodities, indices and more? So find out everything you need to know in today's episode of TradeFlash. TradeFlash. So let's have a look at the latest news. And in the news, tech shares led to the broader market lower for a second day on Tuesday in the face of higher interest rates and a rotation into stocks more linked to the economic recovery. The NASDAQ slipped 1.4%, falling below its 50-day moving average, a key technical indicator for the first time since November 3rd. And also, cryptocurrency firms Tether and Bitfinex reached an agreement with the New York Attorney General's office to pay $18.5 million fine to settle a closely watched legal dispute. The state's top law enforcement officials said they'd been investigating the firms over allegations they moved hundreds of millions of dollars to cover up the apparent loss of $850 million. Also, HSBC plans to radically slash its office footprint in the coming years as it cuts staff and moves to agile way of working post-COVID. Europe's biggest bank said in a strategy update on Tuesday it hoped to reduce its office space globally by 40% over the long term. Also, a dive in Bitcoin's price this week spilled onto Tesla's shares, shaving more than $110 billion off the electric car maker's value, some $20 billion from the CEO Elon Musk's net worth, while slamming exchange-traded funds holding the stock. And Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell signalled that the central bank was nowhere close to pulling back on its support for the pandemic-damaged US economy, even as he voiced expectations for a return to a more normal improved activity later this year. The economy is a long way from our employment and inflation goals, and it is likely to take some time for the substantial further progress to be achieved, he said. So let's have a look at the indices. The S&P 500 was up 0.13% today. The Dow 30 up 0.05%. The DAX, however, was down 0.61%, and the FTSE 100 was up 0.21%. And in the stocks side of things, the big gainers in the US market was SLDB today at 41.78%. TMST was also up at 26.83%. CTIB was also up at 24.05%. And ARD was showing promise at 21.52%. In the UK side of things, ARE, so Arena Events Group, was up at 42.93%, and COM was up at 32.20%. Some of the big losers, however, in the US market was WKHS, and that was down at 47.46%. Churchill Capital Corp was also down at 38.63%. NCTY was down at 34.06%. So let's have a look at some of the UK side of things. In the UK markets, Braveheart Investment Group, so that's BRH, was down at 24.12%, and also ARB, Argo Blockchain, was down at 20.52%. In the currencies, the euro was evens with the dollar yesterday. The US dollar, however, was slightly up on the Japanese yen. The GBP was up by 0.01% against the US dollar. The Australian dollar, however, 0.05% above the US dollar. And the US dollar was 0.06% against the Canadian dollar. And the Swiss franc was slightly down against the US dollar as it rose 0.04%. So we saw some big movers today in the cryptocurrencies. Bitcoin was down negative 10.97% today. Ethereum was down 12.30%. XRP was also down 17.44%. Bitcoin Cash was also down at negative 0.62%. Litecoin also down at 15.5%. And IOTA was also down at 16.97%. It looks like crypto might be on the way down. And in the commodities, crude oil was down 0.81% yesterday. Natural gas down negative 2.57%. Brent oil, however, was up 1.15%. Gasoline and heating oil was also up. In the metals, gold was down 0.16% yesterday, silver was down 1.28%, and also platinum was down 2.64%. In the agricultural side of things, coffee was up 2.48%, cotton was also up at 0.28%, soybean up at 1.48%, and wheat was also up at 0.26%. However, sugar was down 1.97%. So let's have a look at the week ahead then. There may be some big events coming on Wednesday for New Zealand and the US, and also some other smaller events happening a bit later on in the week. So that's it for today. You are now up to date. I'll be back for tomorrow with more. Remember, like, share and subscribe so you can be bang up to date with TradeFlash. TradeFlash.